I'm gonna go over every bad decision made in Digital Circus and explain what I would have done differently. The first mistake was Pomni being an idiot, going to an abandoned place alone and putting on this rusty, nasty old VR headset. Also, I understand curiosity, but you would not catch me putting this disgusting old headset on. Whatever though, Pomni is now in the circus. Now that we are in the amazing Digital Circus, Zooble is the first one to make a mistake. These gloinks come up to Zooble, and Zooble steps back, and the gloinks take Zooble away. If I was a Zooble, I would have walked around the gloinks and not walked into a blind spot. But I do think this is the whole point of the adventure, and Kane would have made the gloinks take Zooble regardless. The next mistake is when Jax opens the door to Kaufmo's room, and well, when Jax opens the door, the room is all trashed and exit is written all over the walls. And oh, there's this huge monster with glowy eyes all over it. Jax instantly runs after seeing this, which is smart. But Ragatha and Pomni just stand there. Now Pomni doesn't understand that this is an abstraction, and when someone abstracts they are very violent and dangerous, but Ragatha does, and she doesn't run or tell Pomni, hey, let's run. Also, regardless, I feel seeing this would give you the gut feeling this isn't normal and you would run. Pomni doesn't run and actually gets really lucky because Kaufmo ends up cornering and attacking Ragatha. And also, while Kaufmo has Ragatha cornered, instead of her getting up and running, she tries negotiating with a raging, abstracted, violent creature, which I think is really stupid. Also, Pomni just stares at this happening and doesn't try to escape after getting confirmation that Kaufmo is obviously violent. I would have booked it as soon as his attention was on Ragatha. After Ragatha gets whooped, Pomni does redeem herself, juking out the abstraction and sending him over the balcony. I would have done the exact same thing. We then go over to Kinger and Gangle, who are looking at the deep dark hole that Zooble got dragged into. They are pretty scared and contemplating going in. Jax then comes over and bowling balls Gangle and Kinger into the hole and gladly jumps in right after them. Here's where I want to talk about the mindset of the adventures. It seems Jax is pretty much the only person who truly understands the circus. They are quite literally video game characters in a video game. None of this is that serious. Jax in this situation realized that Kaufmo is now a glitch, and that's serious. But Kane's adventures never truly have any real consequences. Regardless of whatever happens, Kane will just fix them up like nothing happened. It's safe, and that's why he gladly jumped in. This is something I will come back to a lot, because this mindset could really benefit a lot of the characters in this show. Pomni goes back to Ragatha being a nice person, checking up on her, which is a safe decision because Kaufmo is on the floor, so they're safe. But Ragatha tells her to go and try to find Kane. So Pomni goes running looking for Kane on the floor of the circus where the abstraction is, which I find a little silly. I would have stayed with Ragatha where the abstraction wasn't and awaited Kane's arrival. But Pomni is stupid and she's now running from the abstraction. And while she's running, she sees the exit door that she saw earlier. So she then goes through it, which I feel anyone would do. But what she does inside the door is probably one of the biggest mistakes in the entire show. Pomni runs through each door super fast, all stressed losing it, which I understand. But she is running through the literal office where Digital Circus was made. There are so many files she could have gone through. There is a computer which holds files of the circus. And while Pomni isn't a coder, there are definitely things to learn on this computer. The amount of knowledge of the circus Pomni just ran through is baffling. The only other mistake done in this episode is Pomni allowing Kane to talk her out of the fact that she was the one who conjured up the exit door. Not one other member of the circus ever saw this door. Also, Kane was really weird when she first saw the door and made some excuse that it was a digital hallucination, which now that I think about it, he practically told her she hallucinated it. He exposed himself. Also, while explaining the exit door, he talks very unsure of himself, but Pomni is too scarred of what's going on to realize. We now go on to episode 2. This episode honestly doesn't have many mistakes, but there are some things I want to talk about. The first thing I want to talk about is Jax. While I did say earlier he understands the mindset behind adventures, there is a big flaw in his mindset. While Jax definitely doesn't take the adventures too seriously, he also does not respect any of the circus members. He is kind of a douche to everyone and treats them like they are nothing and tortures them.
You are my playthings.
I know Jax has this crazy lore, and maybe Ribbit or Kaufmo made him scared to get close to people, but because of Jax treating everyone like garbage, he's missing out on connecting with the members, and this can definitely lead to an abstraction. All you really have in this circus is these people. Also, because of him torturing everyone, it makes this adventure very sloppy. The only other mistake is done with Ragatha. Kinger starts talking to her with a bucket on his head, and he's talking normal. He sounds smart, and as soon as the bucket comes a little off his head, he sounds stupid again and has no idea what they are talking about. I'm honestly so unsure how Ragatha was not able to understand that the bucket and darkness made Kinger smarter. Also, she knows he goes in a pillow fort every day. He obviously thrives in the dark. But besides that, the episode was kind of just filler. Nothing really too crazy. We now go on to episode 3, which is also an adventure episode, but with a lot more survival aspects. This adventure is called The Mystery of Mildenhall Manor, and it takes place in a really creepy haunted house. The first mistake, once again, is by Jax, who can't help himself but torture Gangle, and he throws her comedy mask into one of the doors, trying to figure out which door is a scary or not scary door. And this was actually so smart, but he could have used literally any other object in the room to check this. But because he used Gangle's mask, Kinger, being kind and stupid, jumps into the obviously scary door to get Gangle's mask and drags Pomni with him. Sadly, a really preventable mistake. Also, because of this, Jax was tied up the entire adventure. We then go to Zubul, who isn't taking part in this adventure, and this is actually a huge mistake that ends with this happening later in the show. For some odd reason, Zubul thinks they can try to reason or tell the god of the universe what to do. Zubul also really disrespects Cain, which is really dumb. You sadly have to respect Cain. You don't really have any other option. Anyways, we go back to Pomni and Kinger, and they are actually handling their situation quite well at first. They're looking for clues, checking everywhere, actively listening to each tape, but then, once the monster appears, Pomni starts freaking out and messing up trying to get this key into the elevator gate, and she takes around 30 seconds upon seeing the monster to twist the key. I understand she was freaking out, but she did not need to look back as many times as she did. And also, how hard is it to twist a key? Kinger was really close to being eaten. She got really lucky. The next mistake is also done by Pomni. After Kinger goes crazy shooting both demons, they get sent to literal hell. And Kinger is being smart here. He's testing this dark hallway with his eyes. He knows for a fact it's a trap. And as soon as he starts to ponder about what the last tape said, Pomni just runs in the hallway all fast, no thought in the world, and gets possessed. Kinger does save her though, but that was truly dumb. I would never run into a trap without having a plan first. We then get another Kinger missed opportunity moment. Once Pomni comes back to herself, Kinger literally says,
7 years of computer science for this.
Literally exposing that he was one of the coders behind the circus. And she ignores this and doesn't question it. Regardless of this, they have a chat, and it seems Pomni pieces together that when he is in the dark, he is different, which is good, but not something she tries to utilize till way too late in the show. Also, she doesn't ask any questions to the oldest member of the circus either. I would be so curious if I was her. He's experienced so much. I would have asked 1,000 questions. I will say though, Kinger does give some wisdom on cherishing the people around you because that will keep your sanity, which is nice and good. We then go on to episode 4, which is probably one of the most simple to survive episodes out of all of these. The adventure in this episode is simply just fast food. They just work as fast food workers. The first thing I want to talk about is Zubul. This is the first actual adventure we get to see Zubul participate in, and it's very clear that they do not understand the mentality. They take this extremely serious, and it's obvious they are scared of Cain, which is very interesting. Zubul says, the only thing holding Cain back is the fact that he likes us, but it seems they never actually follow this rule. It doesn't make sense why they're always fighting and disagreeing with Cain. This is a huge mistake that will really cook everyone later on, and it's sad Zubul knew this. Besides that, I know it's repetitive, but I feel this would have been a fun adventure to goof around and have fun in, but everyone takes it really serious, especially Gangle. Gangle takes this adventure way too serious, acting like an annoying, strict manager. And because of this, she actually ends up going crazy later in the episode and almost abstracts and gets hit by a car. There was no reason to take this adventure serious.